pleasant morning to each and everyone. I am Aprilrose P. Mobillon, a student of BTB-TED FSM 2G. I'm going to tackle the Module 4, which is Learner-Centered Pedagogy. But before that, let me introduce my group Hub 3. Our little teacher, Miss Anabelle Sayson, and the members are Arvie Aranda, Miss Elinor Banagua, and Miss Angelie Andico. And now let me tackle the learner-centered pedagogy. Learner-centered pedagogy views learners active participants in their own learning with their education shape their interests. Prior knowledge and active investigation. In the learner-centered class, the responsibility for learning is placed on the student and is more cooperative rather than solely based on the instruction from the teacher. Delivery modalities refers to a learning delivery modality where learning tasks placed between the teacher and the learners who are geographically remote from each other during instructions. The following are the modalities in teaching students. Number 1. Face-to-face is an instructional method where course contents and learning materials are taught in person to a group of students and allows for a live interaction between a learner and instructor. It is the most traditional type of learning instructions, and there is opportunity for active engagement, immediate feedback, and socio-emotional development of the learners. Blended learning is an approach to learning that combines face-to-face and online learning experiences. Students learn via electronic and online media, as well as the traditional face-to-face teaching. The following are some examples of blended learning. Station rotation blended learning is a model that allows students to rotate through stations on a fixed schedule, where at least one of the stations is an online learning station. Remote blended learning or enriched virtual. The student focus is on completing online coursework while only meeting with the teacher intermittently or as needed. This approach differs from the flipped classroom. The flipped classroom blended learning is one where students are introduced to content at home and practice working through an in-school supported by a teacher and or peers. In this way, traditional roles for each space are flipped, in other words, studying at school and learning at home. Mastery-based blended learning. Students rotate between online and face-to-face learning based on the completion of mastery-based. Learning objectives assessment design is crucial in any mastery base. Technology-based online learning, e-learning, constitute learning via electronic technology, including the internet, intranets, satellite, broadcast, audio and video, conferencing, bulletin boards, chat rooms, webcasts, and CD-ROM. This fosters greater accessibility to learning anytime, anywhere. Delivery of information. Online learning refers to the idea of using online tools for learning. An online course implies a distance between the students and teachers. Lecture assessment tests are enabled by virtual platforms, while e-learning typically refers to the online interaction between student and teacher. Distance learning is synonymous with online learning. It is a method of study where the teachers and students do not meet in the classroom, but learning materials are sent through the internet, emails, mails, and etc. to have classes. And that's all. Thank you for listening, and now let's proceed to the next topic, which will be tackled by Miss Anabelle Sayson. The floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Aprilrose, for your warm welcome. Hello, everyone. This is Anabelle B. Sayson from Bitibited FSM 2G of Zamboanga Peninsula Polytechnic State University. For today's video, we will tackle about Module 4, Learner-Centered Pedagogy. My topic is all about structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. There are two structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. Number 1 is a formal traditional, and number 2 is alternative learning system or ALS. But before I will share my main topic, I will give a simple understanding about structures facilitating learner-centered teaching. What is structures facilitating learner-centered teaching? It is functioning as a learner-centered teacher means adapting a bottom-up approach to classroom management, curriculum, and instruction. A teacher who acts as a facilitator provides his or her students with opportunities, guidance, and materials as they assume responsibility for other aspects of their own learning. Structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. It is a potent tool to help reservists and practicing teachers understand the fundamental pedagogical principles, processes, and practices that are anchored on learner-centeredness and other educational psychologies as they apply to facilitate the delivery of teaching and learning in the current educational milieu. The number 1 structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching is about formal or traditional. It is concerned with the teacher being the controller of the learning environment. The power and responsibility are held by the teachers and they play the role of instructor and decision maker. Its approaches are generally teacher-directed, where students are taught in a manner that is conducive to sitting and listening. The number 2 structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching is about alternative learning system or ALS. It is a practical option to the existing formal instruction so that the students can complete basic education in a mode that fits their distinct situation and needs. Under this flexible program, learning can take place anytime at any place, depending on the convenience and availability of the learners. This program is for the working and the disadvantaged adults who wish to complete primary and secondary education. Under the Alternative Learning System Act, Republic Act 11510, a learning system that is different from the traditional classroom-based method will be formally established. There are 3 under the alternative learning systems. Number 1 is non-formal education. It refers to education that occurs outside the formal school system. It is often used interchangeably with terms such as a community education, adult education, lifelong education, and second chance education. It is an integral part of a lifelong learning concept that ensures the young people and adults to acquire and maintain the skills, abilities, and disposition needed to adapt to continuously changing environment. The number 2 is informal education. Does not have the structures and levels that formal schools have. It is more natural and spontaneous, meaning the information that the learns through this form of education comes from learning from experience. And the number 3 is the mobile teachers. Are specialized teachers who live among the people and remote barangays of the country and conduct the BLP for illiterate out-of-school youth and adults who are willing to learn basic literacy skills and accreditation and equivalency. For those who left formal school system or have no access to schools, they are called mobile teachers because they go from one place to another where they are needed. What is the importance of structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching? It is according to www.oneyoungworld.com that learner-centered education uses interactive strategies to engage students and develop their abilities. This educational approach helps students develop skills such as decision-making and solving problem, teamwork, and presentation skills that are relevant to the current labor needs. My references will be posted at the end of this video. That's all for the discussions about structures facilitating learner-centered teaching. Once again, this is Anabelle B. Sayson from BTVTED FSM 2G, a little teacher of the Believers Group. The next topic of Module 4 Learner-Centered Pedagogy will discussed by Mr. Arvie Aranda. Thank you for listening, guys, and God bless everyone!
Hi everyone again, Thank you Ma'am Anabelle Sayson for the discussions, the wonderful discussions, the letter B of structure for facilitating learner-centered teaching. So now, hi everyone, we have discussed our topics. Before we'll discuss our topic, first we'll introduce myself, Good morning everyone. My name is Arvie Aranda. I'm BTVTED major in Electronics Technology 2G. So now, hi everyone again, Thank you Ma'am Anabelle Sayson for the discussions, the wonderful discussions, the letter B of structure for facilitating learner-centered teaching. So now, hi everyone. We have discussed our topics. Before we'll discuss our topic, first we'll introduce myself. Good morning, everyone. My name is Arvie Aranda. I'm BTVTED major in Electronics Technology 2G. So now we'll proceed our discussion, or our topic are the number 3, or the alternative delivery modes, EDM, or modified in school, approve, or mimosa. So there are many different factors of alternative delivery mode and the strategy, also, and the methods, So the number 1 in the enhanced structure, or EPAT, and also the OHSP, and active learning activities, cooperative learning, presentations, and lastly, the panels and experts. So now, we'll proceed our discussion. So, our discussion is about what do you mean the alternative delivery modes, or the EDM, modified in school, approve, of mimosa. So, ano ba ibig sabihin ng mga EDMs to? So, what do you mean this? Because according of Department of Education, or the DepEd, is taking a provide of learning basic education that is equality of accessible of and day foundations for lifelong learning and serve as the common good. So there are, aside of from formal educations, according to DepEd is offer the alternative delivery modes of interventions to meet needs and young people and different communities. So it's very important about the ADM, It to address of our learning needs of the management or the pupils, or our student or the children, and also on. Isa yung mga student, there are problem risks in order to help overcome the sort of economic constraints of their schooling. So, it has EDM both the elementary and the secondary levels classroom method. There are different modify in school of approve of mimosa. Ito'y under sa elementary level. So the next one are the enhanced instructional management by parents, community, and teachers, or the EPATS system. Ito'y under naman sa elementary level. Sa OSSP naman o homeschooling program o meaning HSP, ito yung under naman sa elementary level. Ang multi-degree program in Philippine Education or the MPE, ito naman under naman sa elementary level. And lastly, the secondary level naman is under of Tropo and the reduction program or the DORP. Next, about letter C, the methods and the strategies. So, the methods are the active, there are different, there are methods of strategy of learning center teaching. So, letter A, the active learning activities. So, when given the opportunity to actively engage with the information, they are learning. So, the student perform better. For example, the active learning techniques include the role playing, or the teacher will discuss, or you should do role playing, the discussion of case studies, group project, and so on. Thus are the methods and strategies of active learning activities. So the next one are the cooperative learning activities. So students work together on academic tasks in small group or to help themselves, not and their teammates learn together. So for example, the cooperative learning activities are the pair or the group discussions. Ito yung the teacher to give tasks, you need to perform by group or the per group, per pala, or the discussion of the discussions. While the role playing, visual debate, is the debate or to contest your pros and cons, and so on. So the next one, the presentations. So the instructional strategy of working student presentation as the way to present engaging content to the class as a whole can be fun and engaging method. So ito yung for example, as a teacher, I give the topic to the student or group have to present to each topic. So I give him very important every topic there are speaking, there are group presentations that are give the presentation. So it's very important to them to help the student to learn and to practice in the public speaking, especially in the course of education. You should them, So lastly, the panels. So in the panels naman, ito yung discussion of the elected group or the student act as a panel and remaining of class members. Ito may act as an audience. For example, the audience will summarize, or the panel discussion or the open discussion. So it also the one of teach from audience that are the panels. So that are the panels, guys. So that's all our discussions about the number 3, the alternative delivery modes or the EDM, or the modify in school approach of Mimosa. So the next discussion will proceed our reporters of the Elinor Banagua.
Thank you, Mr. Arvie Aranda, for that wonderful presentation. Before I will continue to the discussion of my topic, let me introduce myself. My name is Elinor D. Banagua, a second-year student of Zamboanga Peninsula Polytechnic State University, taking up Bachelor of Technical Vocational Teacher Education, major in Food and Service Management. Let me refresh the topic lately discussed by Mr. Aranda about the alternative delivery modes. Okay, I will discuss now my assigned topic. The KWL or KWHLAQ is an instructional reading strategy that is used to guide students through a text. Students begin by brainstorming everything they know about a topic. This information is recorded in the K column or a KWL chart by Ogle 1986. KWL charts are graphic organizers that help students organize information before, during, and after a unit or a lesson. They can be used to engage students in a new topic, activate prior knowledge, share unit objectives, and monitor students' learning. The next topic is the brainstorming. It is a large or small group activity that encourages students to focus on a topic and contribute to the free flow of ideas. The teacher may begin a brainstorming session by posing a question or a problem, or by introducing a topic. Students then express possible answers and relevant ideas. Contributions are accepted without criticism or judgment and usually summarized on a whiteboard by the teacher or a scribe as the ideas are called out. These ideas are then examined, usually in an open class discussion format. The next one is the learner-created media. Involves a high degree of engagement, promotes individual learning, social interaction, and immersion, and is highly customizable and collaborative. By Yowell and Rotten, 2009. It provides an alternative or a complement to traditional undergraduate student research. Next is the discussion. Is a variety of forums for open-ended collaborative exchange of ideas among a teacher and a student or among students for the purpose of furthering student thinking, learning, problem solving, understanding, or literally appreciation. The participants present multiple points of view, respond to the ideas of others, and reflect on their own ideas in an effort to build their knowledge, understanding, or interpretation of the matter at hand. The following are advantages of discussion. By Casinto, 2009. Number 1. In a discussion class, the students are actively involved in processing information and ideas. Second, since students' initiated questions are more common in discussion classes, their needs and interests are dealt with more readily and spontaneously than in other methods. Number 3, because students play a more active role in discussion, student diversity of backgrounds can be exploited in the generation of ideas, approaches, and examples. Number 4, students receive practice in formulating questions and communicating their ideas. Number 5, the last advantages is discussion can be used to examine students' attitudes. If there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. Okay, I will discuss the advantages. Number 1, the discussion method is the least effective method for conveying factual information. Second one, the discussion can be very time-consuming and unfocused unless the instructor makes an effort to direct the flow. Number 3, because an instructor is often had difficulty in getting the students involved at first, the temptation to slip into a view session or mini lecture is great. Lastly, class size must be restricted. Small group allows presenters to announce a topic or idea for group discussion among participants. A small group discussion follows democratic guidelines and allows everyone to contribute many ideas for others to discuss and reflect upon. Discussion allows for an interchange of ideas within the context of a group under the direction of a presenter by Brewer 1997. This method is generally used as part of a larger course rather than as the only teaching method. In these situations, students work in pairs or small groups on problem of application and analysis. The instructor prepares a description of the task beforehand in a class, divides the large group into small work groups of 2 to 7 students. These students work together to complete the task as assigned. The instructor then reconvenes the large group and has the groups compare their solution by Jacinto 2009. The next one is the case studies. Often involves simply observing what happens to or reconstructing the case story of a single participant or group of individuals. In this method, a situation is drawn from real life and is followed by step to illustrate a general principle or problem-solving strategy. Case studies are more useful when students are learning a process of information analysis or asking questions. They are particularly beneficial if the students can go through several cases sequentially, during which the instructor begins by directing the process and gradually shifts to allowing the students to direct the process by Jacinto 2009. Next one is the jigsaw. It is a method of organizing classroom activity that makes students dependent on each other to succeed. It breaks classes into groups and breaks assignment to complete the jigsaw puzzle. It is a cooperative learning strategy that enables each student of a home group to specialize in one aspect of a topic. For example, one group studies habitats of rainforest animals. Another group studies predators of rainforest animals. Students meet members from other groups who are assigned the same aspect, and after mastering the material, return to the home group and teach the material to their group members. Another one is learning centers. Is an exploratory and interactive learning strategy where students rotate in groups to different activities that reinforce and extend classroom learning. As students rotate to these designated areas around the classroom, they demonstrate their understanding of a topic and practice skills through tasks that integrate various learning styles. To implement this strategy, a teacher first determines a skill or content area to focus and to the objective. The materials for each activity are placed in a specific location around the classroom, and students complete the activities in small groups, while the teacher provides support to individual students. Next one is the experiments. It is a procedure carried out to support, reflect, or validate a hypothesis. Experiments provide insight into cause and effect by demonstrating what outcomes occurs when a particular factor is manipulated. Experiments vary greatly in goal and scale, but always rely on repeatable procedure and logical analysis of the results. Next one is the role play. It is a technique that allows students to explore realistic situations by interacting with other people in a managed way in order to develop experience and try different strategies in a supported environment. It is an educational technique in which people spontaneously act out problems of human relations and analyze the enactment with the help of other role players and observers. Role playing is effective when the topic involves person-to-person communication or interactions. The advantages of role play are: it allows everyone to participate. It develops self-esteem and confidence and give them opportunity to show their creativity. Next one is simulations. Are instructional scenarios where the learner is placed in a world defined by the teacher. They represent a reality within which students interact. The teacher controls the parameter of this world and uses it to achieve the desired instructional results. Students experience the reality of the scenario and gather meaning from it. Simulation may contain elements of a game, a role play, or an activity that acts as a metaphor. Advantages of simulation are: it promotes the use of critical and evaluative thinking, promotes concept attainment through experiential practice, and helps students to appreciate more deeply the management of the environment, politics, community, and the culture. Next one is the laboratory strategies. Laboratories are wonderful settings for teaching and learning science. They provide students with opportunities to think about, discuss, and solve real problems. It develops intuition and deepens the understanding of concepts, applies concepts learned in class to new situations, experience basic phenomena, develop critical, quantitative thinking, develop experimental and data analysis skills, and learn to use a scientific apparatuses. The next one is the workshop. Workshop is a teaching structure that pushes students to be creative and responsible in their own learning. The workshop model asks students to take charge of their own learning, becoming active and engaged in their work and develop of understanding. The next one is demonstration. It is a teaching method used to communicate an idea with the aid of visuals such as flip charts, posters, PowerPoint, etc. It is also a process of teaching someone how to make or do something in a step-by-step process. A demonstration always has a finished product. The key to a good demonstration is for the audience to be able to go home and do what you have taught them how to do. The next one is inquiry-based strategy. It is an approach to learning that emphasizes the student's role in the learning process. Rather than the teacher telling students what they need to know, students are encouraged to explore the material, ask questions, and share ideas. From a student point of view, inquiry-based learning focuses on investigating an open question or problem. They must use evidence-based reasoning and creative problem solving to reach a conclusion which they must defend or present. From a teacher point of view, inquiry-based learning focuses on moving students beyond general curiosity into the realism of critical thinking and understanding. There are benefits of inquiry-based learning. Okay. Number 1 is reinforces curriculum content. Second one is warms up the brain for learning. Number 3, promotes a deeper understanding of content. Number 4, it helps make learning rewarding. Number 5, builds initiative and self-direction. Number 6, works in almost any classroom. Number 7, offers differentiated instruction. Now, let's proceed to mental models. Mental models are any organized pattern, often a visual representation, consisting of both structure and process. It is a flow chart of sorts that helps a student comprehend content knowledge and or solve problems relative to the principle being taught. Advanced organizers are often thought of as mental models. Mental models help you understand life. Example, supply and demand is a mental model that helps you understand how the economy works. Now let's proceed to project-based learning. It is a teaching method in which a student gain knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time to investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex question, problem, or challenge. A dynamic classroom approach in which students actively explore real-world problems and challenges and acquire a deeper knowledge. Next, problem-based learning. It is a teaching method in which complex real-world problems are used as the vehicle to promote students' learning concepts and principles as opposed to direct presentation of facts and concepts. It promotes the development of critical thinking skills, problem-solving abilities, and communication skills. It can also provide opportunities for working in groups, finding and evaluating research materials, and lifelong learning by Duke et al. 2001. Okay, let's proceed to discovery learning. It was introduced by Jerome Bruner, and it is a method of inquiry-based instruction. This popular theory encourages learners to build on past experiences and knowledge, use their intuition, imagination, and creativity, and search for new information to discover facts, correlations, and new truths. It is used in the classroom during problem-solving exercises and educational programs. In discovery learning, there are also advantages. Number 1, it encourages motivation, active involvement, and creativity. Second one is it can be adjusted to the learner's pace. third one is it promotes autonomy and independence. The last one is it ensures higher levels of retention. Okay, let's proceed to the next. The social media. Social media are tools that allow for social interaction and easy creation of content by users. It can be an effective tool for teaching and learning in higher education. It can help connect students to information and help them generate a dialogue with their teacher and other students about a course. It can also help students and faculty build professional networks that connect them to communities beyond. Next is games or gamification. Gamification is turning the learning process as a whole into a game, while games-based learning or BGL is using a game as part of the learning process. It turns the entire learning process into a game. It takes games mechanics and gameplay elements and it applies them to existing learning courses and content in order to better motivate and engage learners. Example of this is mechanics includes achievement badge, points, leaderboards, progress bars, and level or quest. The next is competitions. Competitions are great tools in preparing students for their career preference later in life. These methods can teach a child certain attributes and traits that can help him or her later in life. Competition in any form brings out the best in people and pushes them to excel. Competition in the classroom is quite healthy. It should, in fact, be encouraged. It allows students to extend themselves to exploit their real capabilities and maximize their true potentials. And it is most productive when it occurs among students of similar abilities. The last one is debate. Debate involves students in expressing their opinions from two competing perspectives with the goal of contradicting each other's argument. By Chang and Cho, 2010. An opportunity for decision may be given after opposing views are presented in alternating statements. Engaging students in discussion and debate encourages students to create their own understanding of the content and connect it to their experience. Okay, that's all for alternative delivery modes. Now let's proceed to the next topic, which is the flexible learning and teaching. Flexible learning is a method of learning where students are given freedom in how, what, when, and where they learn. Flexible learning environments address how physical space is used, how students are grouped during learning, and how time is used throughout teaching. With space, students may be given dedicated breakout rooms to work collaboratively. Schools may restructure traditional schedule to provide students with time for collaboration and other activities such as guest speakers or performances to assist their understanding of a topic. Flexible learning refers to the ability to customize one pace, place, and mode of learning. With pace, for example, students may take accelerated programs or engage in part-time learning to ensure they have time to work on the side. Learning can take place in a variety of settings, including the classroom, at home, via the internet, while commuting or as part of the work-study program. Mode refers to the way that content is delivered by technology, typically through blended learning, fully online courses, or technology-enhanced experiences. Differentiated learning is a framework or philosophy that involves providing all students within their diverse classroom community of learners a range of different avenues for understanding new information in terms of acquiring content, processing, constructing, or making sense of ideas, and developing teaching materials and assessment measures so that all students within a classroom can learn effectively regardless of differences in their ability. It allows the student to show what they know in different ways. Number 1, design lessons based on students' learning styles. Number 2, group students by shared interests, topic, or ability for assignment. Number 3, assess students' learning using formative assessment. Number 4, manage the classroom to create a safe and supportive environment. Differentiating instruction may mean teaching the same material to all students using a variety of instructional strategies. It may require the teacher to deliver lessons at varying levels of difficulty based on the ability of each student. According to Tomlinson, teachers can differentiate instruction through 4 ways. Number 1, content. Number 2, process. Number 3, product. Number 4, learning environment. Example of differentiated instruction, create learning station. Create Learning Station, it provides different types of content by setting up learning stations. Divide sections of your classroom through which groups of students rotate. You can facilitate this with a flexible seating plan. Each station should use a unique method of teaching a skill or concept related to your lesson. For example, students can rotate between stations that involve watching a video, creating artwork, reading an article, completing puzzles, and listening to your teacher. The second one is target differences within lessons. A lesson should resonate with more students if it targets visual, tactile, auditory, and kinesthetic senses instead of only one, like playing videos, using infographics, providing audiobooks, getting students to act out a scene, incorporating charts and illustrations within text, giving both spoken and written directions to tasks, using relevant physical objects such as money when teaching math skills, and allotting time students to create artistic reflection and interpretation of lesson. The third one is use the think, pair, share strategy. It requires students to think individually about a topic or answer to a question and share ideas with classmates. The fourth one is the make time for journaling. A journal can be a tool for students to reflect on the lessons you have taught and activities you have run, helping them process a new information. That's the end of my topic. I hope you have learned something about it, and I am looking forward for a great achievement in learning. Once again, this is Elinor D. Banagua, and now I will give the floor to the next facilitator Miss Angelie Andico for the next topic, which is the education in emergencies. Thank you and stay safe, everyone!
Hello everyone, I am Angelie Andico, BTBTED FSM 2G. So in Module 4, I will be discussed to you my topic, which is education in emergencies. Education in emergencies. It is a critical life-saving response that works to protect children in conflict and natural disasters and preserve their right to education. It is education that protects the well-being, fosters learning opportunities, and nurtures the overall development of people affected by conflicts and disasters. Number 1. Foundational standards. This domain details standards for community participation. Participations and resources, coordination and analysis, assessments, response strategies, monitoring, evaluation. The standards described here are critical for an effective education response. They are the basis for application of the standards for access and learning environment, teaching and learning, teacher and other education personnel, and education policy. Number 2. The teaching learning domain. These standards focus on critical elements that promote effective teaching and learning, including curricula, training, professional development and support, instruction and learning processes, assessments of learning outcomes. A. Curricula. Culturally, socially, and linguistically relevant curricula are used to provide formal and non-formal education, appropriate to particular contexts and needs of learners. B. Training, professional development, and support teachers and other education personnel receive periodic, relevant, and structured training according to the needs and circumstances. Letter C. Instruction and learning processes. Instruction and learning processes are learner-centered, participatory, and inclusive. Letter D. Assessment and learning outcomes. Appropriate methods are used to evaluate learning outcomes.
And now I am going to discuss and summarize the topic about the Module 4, which is the learner-centered pedagogy. Learner-centered pedagogy views learners as active participants in their own learning, with their education shaped by their interest, prior knowledge, and active investigation. In the learner-centered class, the responsibility for learning is placed on the student and is more cooperative rather than solely based on the instruction from the teacher. In learner-centered pedagogy, there are delivery modalities. Under delivery modalities, there are face-to-face, blended learning, technology-based, online or e-learning, distance learning. Delivery modalities, it refers to a learning delivery modality where learning takes place between the teacher and the learners who are geographically remote from each other during instruction. The following are the modalities in teaching students. Number 1 is the face-to-face. It is an instructional method where course contents and learning materials are taught in person to a group of students, and this allows for a live interaction between a learner and a instructor. The blended learning is an approach to learning that combines face-to-face and online learning experiences. Under blended learning, there is station, rotation blended learning, remote blended learning or enriched virtual. Number 3, the flipped classroom blended learning. Then lastly, the mastery-based blended learning. The learner-centered pedagogy has structures for facilitating learner-centered teaching. It is a potent to tool to help pre-service and practicing teachers understand the fundamental pedagogical principles, processes, and practices that are anchored on learner-centeredness and other educational psychologies as they apply to facilitate the delivery of teaching and learning in the current educational milieu. In these structures, this includes the formal or the traditional, second, the alternative learning system or the ALS. Then under this alternative, it consists of non-formal education, NFE. Then second, the informal education. Then third one is the mobile teachers. The third structure is the alternative delivery modes. Under these delivery modes, it consists of modified in school approach, which is the MIMOSA. The second one is enhanced instructional management by parents, community, and teachers. Then the last one is Open High School Program or the OHSP. Then under the learner-centered pedagogy, there are methods and strategies. This includes the methods. Under methods, it consists active learning activities, cooperative learning activities, inquiry and inductive learning activities. Then the second one under the methods and strategy is the learner-centered instructional strategies. This includes the cooperative learning, presentations, panels, KWL, KWHLAQ, brainstorming, learner-centered media and learner-created media, discussion, the small group, the case studies, jigsaw, learning centers, experiments, role play, simulations, laboratory strategies, workshop, demonstration, inquiry-based strategy, mental models, project-based learning, problem-based learning, discovery learning, social media, games or gamification, competition, and lastly, debate. In learner-centered pedagogy, there is a flexible learning and teaching. Flexible learning is a method of learning where students are given freedom in how, what, when, and where they learn. Flexible learning environment addresses how physical space is used, how students are grouped during learning, and how time is used throughout teaching. The next one is the differentiated learning. It is a framework or philosophy that involves providing all students within their diverse classroom community of learners a range of different avenues for understanding new information in terms of acquiring content, processing, constructing, or making sense of ideas, and developing teaching materials and assessment measures so that all students with a classroom can learn effectively regardless of differences in their ability. The last one is the education in emergencies. Under this education in emergencies, it consists foundational standards, then followed by the teaching learning domain. So that's all for the topic or module 4, the learner-centered pedagogy. The references and citation for this topic will be posted after this video. Thank you and God bless everyone.